Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dishing Drama with Dana Wilkie Uncensored. We have officially moved to Patreon. Here's a sneak peek of Dishing Drama with Dana Wilkie. Hi, you guys. Well, today is kind of a very, very difficult conversation you're going to listen to between myself and a gentleman by the name of Mr. David Brill. David hired Real Housewives of New Jersey, Teresa Giudice's husband, Luis Ruelas, back in the 90s, but 20 some odd years ago. And he was completely devastated by things that Luis Ruelas did to him. And he is going to tell me his story today. It is very disturbing. So for the beginning of the podcast, I insert some sound effects to lighten the mood just because it's a lot. It's a lot. And so you're going to see that sort of happens in the beginning of the pod, and then it's going to kind of quiet down as his stories get going, and I think you can kind of handle it better. Many times in this interview, David says he's talking about Luis Ruelas. You'll see him establish that in the beginning of the podcast, but then as time goes on, he really is recalling all of these stories. And so, he did this, he did that. And I just wanted to be clear going into the podcast of that. David alleges a lot of things against Luis Ruelas and his associate up until 2010. He claims Luis Ruelas at one point beat him up, held a gun to his head. That's the level that we're talking about in this interview. To prepare yourself, I obviously can only vet David Brill so much, but my feeling was that he was being honest and he was telling real stories, and he was truly impacted by Luis Ruelas in a scarring way for the rest of his life. And so I believe that he deserves to have a platform to tell his story. And that is what I hope to accomplish today. So David wanted me to share a quick story as to why he is so triggered by Luis Ruelas and his experience with him, which you will hear is very dark. And it's that he saw a scene on Real Housewives of New Jersey. He's been triggered by the show a few times because of Luis Ruelas' lavish lifestyle. You'll hear him talk about that. But there's a scene where all the Real Housewives of New Jersey house husbands are sitting together with Tiki Barber. And one of them is Luis Ruelas. And David is kind of awestruck that Tiki Barber, who's one of his favorite Giant players, is sitting there with this man who's done so many horrible things, in David Brill's opinion, to him and so many other people. And I'm putting it lightly on purpose. I'll let him tell his own story. But he wanted you guys to know that he's not a hater. He just really, you'll have to see for yourself what he says. You'll understand a lot more as you listen to this interview. David has tried to get it out there that he's posted things on Yahoo Entertainment about, who he believes Luis Ruelas is and his character, to just warn people, him being worried that other people will be impacted negatively like he was. I'll leave it with you guys. Let's get into the interview with David Brill.
Come on, bitch, let's go.
Listen, everything I'm going to tell you is the God's honest truth. I had a great business I started. He ran me into the ground. He stole from me, and now I'm just an average guy making a living, paying the bills. I had 2 kids. I lost one of my daughters in an accident at 6 years ago. So I've had a lot of trouble in my life, but I keep bouncing back because I'm a survivor, and I'm not a hater. So anything I tell you is not meant to hate on this guy because of his success. I don't mind. Listen, I don't mind people having success. That's great. But when you do it at the hands of other people, that makes me a little upset.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to tell you the story now. You got the tape going?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So I was working back when I was 24, 25 with a very yuppie upscale marketing company named Jamie Marketing in Pearl River, New York. And I went from a junior executive to being a superstar. I went from driving a Hyundai to a BMW. I was getting clients like crazy. People loved me and my personality. And this is in the direct mail business, mailing lists, leads, and stuff like that for people that when direct mail was big. Now it's all internet. So I remember one day this kid comes in, and everyone is saying he's in his first year of college, in a 2-year college. His house just got burnt down, and they hired him as like an intern, and his name was Luis Ruelas, right? And I had my own office, my own secretary, and all day long he would just hover outside and pick my brain, wanted to be my friend. And he was a little bit younger than me, and I wasn't really a big partier. So, I mean, I like to have a beer once in a while, but I wasn't a huge partier. But he would always invite me out with his friends and go to clubs. And he was a big clubbing guy, and going to the city and driving down with his fiance, Marissa, his first wife. And so I met with we met once for dinner on a social occasion. I had a great time. Marissa's a wonderful girl. And, he always kept hounding me. We should go into business together. I go, Louis, you're 19. You don't even finish college. And you know nothing about the business. He goes, I'll get the money to start us. I'll do this. I go, Louis, you guys are living in his house burnt down. And I found out why. His father used to work for Asics sneakers, right? Back in the day, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And his father actually got fired from Asics for big.
For the full scoop, head to our Patreon page. Click the coin icon on your player to check it out.